At my sister's birthday brunch, she raised her glass and loudly toasted to me and to those who know their place. All eyes turned to me. I raised my mimosa and replied to those who now have 30 days to find a new home since I just sold the apartment you're living in. The room fell silent. Then her fork clanged against her plate. My mom whispered, "What have you done?" I sipped my drink and said, "What never ceases to amaze me, no matter how often it happens, is the pure selfishness of my family. Not the minor kind, like someone swiping your food or forgetting your birthday. I mean the kind where they take everything they can from you, grin while doing it, and then act shocked when you finally draw a line. I used to think it might be a misunderstanding or that I was too emotional. But this brunch shattered any doubts. Sarah's birthday brunch, that's when everything broke open. I arrived already exhausted, sensing trouble brewing. Sarah had insisted on holding it at our mom's place, for the vibe, which really meant free drinks and no cleanup. She was dressed in all white, like she was the star of the show, already tipsy when I walked in. The moment I stepped inside, I knew something was wrong. Sarah had that smug look she gets when she thinks she's about to come out on top. Tom was chasing their toddler around like he was navigating a minefield, and our mom was sipping cocktails like it was a sunny afternoon on a yacht. I sat down, nodded at my cousins, Lily and Sam, two of the few family members still grounded in reality, and poured myself a mimosa. I tried not to think about the apartment. 6 months ago, I'd let Sarah and Tom move into the condo I'd bought as a rental investment. They were in a bind, she claimed. Evicted, Tom jobless, daycare costs crushing them. She sobbed over the phone, saying they just needed a couple of months. I agreed, but 2 months became 4, then 6. No rent, just utilities, which they barely managed. Meanwhile, I covered the HOA fees, property taxes, and lost every chance to profit from that place. And they kept saying we're almost there. I stayed quiet until her toast. Sarah stood, glass raised, swaying slightly. The room hushed. She grinned and said to me and to those who know their place. Then she stared right at me. Everyone else did too. Even the kids stopped chattering. I couldn't believe it. I'd let her live in my condo for free for half a year, and she had the audacity to shade me in her toast. So I raised my mimosa. To those who now have 30 days to find a new home since I just sold the apartment you're living in. The silence was almost comical. Then Sarah's fork hit her plate. Mom leaned in and whispered, "What have you done?" I took a sip. "What I did, Mom, was take my life back. I'd been silent too long. I bought that condo to invest, not to do favors. I was already planning to sell it and use the funds for a deposit on a place out of state, far from this dysfunction. I'd given them more than enough time, more than enough patience. And this was my reward." Dad grumbled, "Really, David?" Like I'd committed a crime at the table. "You've had 6 months," I said. "I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even tell you when I listed it. But I'm not your backup plan anymore." Sarah's voice broke. "You're selling our home." Without even discussing it. "I gave you a free place to stay," I said. "You toasted to me knowing my place." "Well, I'm changing roads." Tom tried to diffuse things, speaking up calmly. But Mom launched into a tirade about how I always choose the worst moments to make a stand, and how this was meant to be a family event. "You could have waited a day," she said. "And she could have kept my name out of her speech," I replied. "But here we are." Lily stared at her plate. Sam looked like he was holding back a grin. Sarah stood. "So what, we're on the street now?" "No," I said. "You have 30 days. I was even going to help with your first month's rent. I planned to tell you today, but after this, you're on your own." The room erupted in panic. Voices grew louder. Dad cursed. Mom spilled her drink. Sarah stormed to the kitchen, and Tom trailed behind like a scolded dog. I stood and said, "Happy birthday," then left. Lily and Sam followed me to the driveway. Lily said that was harsh. Sam added, "But deserved." I nodded. This was just the start. The next morning, I woke to 20 missed calls. Sarah, Mom, even Tom, who hadn't called me once in 6 months, suddenly remembered my number. Voicemails piled up, all with that fake calm people use when they're holding back rage. I ignored them all. By noon, the messages turned hostile. Sarah called me cruel. Tom said I was ruining their son's life. Mom left a long voicemail sobbing about family bonds and how I could betray my own kin. It was almost impressive how quickly I became the bad guy. Lily texted me, "You okay?" I replied, surprisingly, "Yeah, I feel okay." She wrote back, "Good, they're falling apart." Sarah's talking about getting a lawyer. I laughed. That was so Sarah, always thinking a bold threat would make people cave, but selling my own property wasn't illegal. She had no lease, no contract, just a favor stretched too thin. By day 3, they started showing up. First, Tom came to my workplace. He looked exhausted and instead of apologizing, started with, "You ambushed us." "Funny," I said, because 6 months of empty promises ambushed me. He switched tactics, saying they just needed a bit more time, 2 months tops, promising to pay rent soon or at least try. I told him the sale was done. Condos under contract. Inspections next week. It's final. Then came the desperation. He asked if I could cancel the sale. Said we could work something out as family. He even suggested paying me off the books later. I laughed. "What makes you think I trust you with anything now?" He left muttering about how money had changed me, as if I hadn't been carrying them for half a year. The next night, Sarah showed up at my place. No knock, just shouting the second I opened the door. "How could you embarrass me like that in front of everyone?" "You embarrassed yourself," I said. "You were drunk and rude. Don't blame me for calling you out." That set her off. She listed every minor wrong I'd ever done, from taking her candy as kids to being late for her baby shower. It was sad. Finally, I said, "You have 10 days. Start packing." She screamed she wasn't moving back to our parents' place. That was news to me. "You're not staying here and you're not staying with me," I said. "Sort it out." She stormed off, vowing never to speak to me again. Fine by me. Later, Mom called, drunk. I could tell by her rambling. She said things like, "You don't do this to your sister," and if your dad were sober enough to talk, he'd say the same. Then she let slip what she really meant. "You think you're above us with your job, your money, your properties. But don't forget who raised you." I hung up, because that's the thing. They only talk about family when they want something. When I need respect or a simple thank you, it's silence. Lily and Sam met me for drinks the next day. We laughed, caught up, reminded each other we weren't the crazy ones. But I knew this wasn't over. Sarah wouldn't leave quietly, and I was ready for whatever came next. By day 4, I got texts from unknown numbers. One was from Tom's brother, who I hadn't talked to in years. It read, "Pretty low what you did to Sarah and the kid. Harsh." Another from some friend of hers I barely knew. "You're really putting a child on the street?" Wow, that's how far it had spread. Sarah was out there spinning a tale, acting like the victim blindsided by a heartless landlord cousin who turned on his family. She didn't mention the 6 free months or the times I offered to help them relocate. She definitely didn't mention I was going to cover their first month's rent until her toast. Then Mom started calling again, sober this time. She said they were all coming over to sort things out. I said no. She said it wasn't optional. So when they arrived that evening, I wasn't shocked. Sarah, Tom, Mom, and even Dad still in his work clothes, reeking of stale beer and fuel. We sat in my living room like strangers. Sarah started immediately. "We need 60 days. No, legally we can fight this." Tom added, "You're not tenants," I said. "You can't fight anything." Mom chimed in. "If you're kicking them out, at least help them find a safe place." "I was going to," I said. "But I'm not helping people who insult me, and not on her timeline." Dad, quiet until now, leaned forward and said, "You're being small." I looked at him. "You've been drunk since Tuesday." He stood unsteady. "So what? I'm a bad dad now." "We're bad people, that's what you think." "I don't think it, I've seen it, for years." Sarah went quiet. That one landed. 30 days is plenty, I said. "I've got an agent looking for a place in their budget. I was even going to pay a deposit and first month's rent. But I'm done helping people who don't treat me like a person." Tom looked ready to explode. "You don't care about your nephew's future." "I do," I said. "That's why I gave you 6 months. That's why I offered help. But this arrangement is over." Mom shook her head. "This family's falling apart." "No," I said, "it's just not revolving around you anymore." They left in a flurry of curses and slammed doors. The next day, I got an email from a rental agency saying Tom had applied for a place, listing me as a reference. I called them and told the truth. He lived rent-free, no payment history. The agent sounded surprised but thanked me for being honest. That afternoon, Sarah called, screaming that I'd ruined their chances. "You told the truth?" She shouted. "Try it yourself," I said. Then I hung up. I called Lily later. She said Sarah was unraveling, talking about moving in with Mom and Dad just for a bit. "That'll be fun," Lily said. "I give them a week before someone's out on the street." We laughed. For a moment it felt normal, but the damage was done. They weren't leaving peacefully. They dragged this out to the end. By day 11, I wasn't sleeping well. Every time I silenced my phone, I'd wake to voicemails, Sarah crying, Tom swearing, Mom guilt-tripping. I kept ignoring them. Then something bizarre happened. The buyer's agent called, frantic. "David, we got a strange message from the current residents," she said. "They told our inspector the place has mold and might not be safe for kids." I nearly dropped my phone. "There's no mold. I had it inspected 6 months ago before they moved in. It's fine." Sarah and Tom were trying to derail the sale. I called her immediately. She answered like she was expecting it. You told the inspector there's mold. She didn't deny it, we were just being honest. It's not good for kids, I said. If there was mold, why didn't you mention it in 6 months or ask me to fix it? Silence. What's not good for kids, I said, is living rent-free and trying to sabotage a sale you don't control. I hung up and called my lawyer. He said it wouldn't stop the sale but warned they might try other stunts, like refusing to leave or damaging the place. So I did something bold. I went to the condo, unannounced. Tom opened the door looking like he'd seen a debt collector. Sarah was in the living room pretending not to see me. The kid was asleep on the couch. I walked in, looked around. The place was spotless, too spotless. Like they were staging it maybe to pretend it was theirs. I need to check for the final inspection, I said. It's in 3 days, start packing. Tom tried to block me from the second bedroom. You don't live here, he said. No, but I own it. I pushed past and stopped. Sarah had painted the walls, dull, patchy beige. One wall was half done, another still wet. You're painting my walls, I asked. We were just sprucing it up, Sarah called out. I took a photo. You know that's vandalism, right? You didn't have permission, this isn't your place. Tom looked nervous. We were going to repaint before we left. Sure you were. I walked out and texted the buyer's agent the photo with a note. They're painting. Without permission. I'll handle it. Then I sent Sarah and Tom a formal 7-day vacate notice on top of the 30-day one. That night, Sam sent me a screenshot. Sarah posted a photo on social media, standing in the apartment, captioned, "When your own brother sells your home out from under you, heartbroken." The comments were full of pity. People who didn't know the truth, saying you deserve better and how could he do that to a kid? I didn't reply, but I saved every comment because now it wasn't just manipulation. It was public lies. Then came the final twist. Lily called whispering, "You won't believe this," she said. "Mom's letting them move in. Like into her house." I laughed. "They are?" "Yeah, and she's acting like she's saving them from your cruelty." Of course. I hung up and thought about it. They were finally leaving. I should have felt free. But all I could think was, what's their next move? They moved out on a Sunday afternoon. No drama, no big fight, no final showdown. Just a cold, distant exit I didn't even see. Lily texted me. "They're gone, finally." The key was left at my building's front desk. No note, no thanks, not even a message. 6 months rent-free, 6 months of broken promises, and now nothing. I drove to the condo that night. I half expected it to be wrecked out of spite. They'd tried everything else, painting without permission, lying about mold, dragging my name online like I was the villain. But the place was fine, mostly. They'd taken what mattered to them, TV, furniture, clothes, but left the junk. A broken stroller propped against a wall, a pile of toddler socks scattered in the closet. A stained rug rolled up in the second bedroom. Sarah's favorite mug, World's Best Mom, was chipped and left on the counter. They also left a half-full trash bag, a sticky fridge with old yogurt and takeout boxes, and an open box of cereal on the floor like they'd fled a disaster. I found a toddler's drawing taped to the bathroom mirror, stick figures labeled "Family" in wobbly blue crayon. It hit me harder than I expected. Not because I missed them, but because of how much I'd let this consume me. How much of my time, money, and energy they'd taken. I'd bought this place for my future. They'd turned it into a burden and made me feel bad for wanting it back. No more. The buyer's agent came the next morning. She looked around and said, "Honestly, I expected worse after all you told me." I said they'd already done their damage to the walls. The inspection passed. The sale closed that Friday. I signed the final papers, and hours later, the money hit my account. More money than I'd ever seen at once. It should have felt incredible. Instead, I sat at my kitchen table, staring at it, thinking, why does this feel more like relief than triumph? That day, Mom called. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. Her voice was sharp. They came here with nothing. We had to buy food, the babies crying all night and Tom's sleeping on the floor. "You invited them," I said. "You forced them there. Where else could they go?" They had 6 months to figure that out. I gave them time, warnings, offers. They ignored them all. Then she revealed why she called. Sarah's talking about pulling the kid from daycare. Says they can't afford it now. Says you won't help. I won't. She's your sister. And I was her landlord, her very patient landlord. I stopped being her bank the moment she stood up at brunch and toasted to me knowing my place. She was drunk. She was honest. Silence. Then she hung up. That night, Sam messaged me. "FYI, you're the bad guy now. Family talks are half about what you did, half about what you owe them." I replied, "Let them make a monument. I'm moving next week." And I did. Made an offer on a place in a smaller city 3 states away. Quiet area, no family nearby, a park nearby. My offer was accepted in a day. I didn't throw a farewell party, didn't send out my new address, just packed. The night before I left, I sat alone with a beer looking at my empty walls. 6 months ago, I let my sister stay, thinking it'd help her stand on her own. All it did was show me some people don't want to stand. They want someone else to carry them while they act like they're carrying the world. The truth is, Sarah and Tom weren't ungrateful just once. They were ungrateful every day they stayed in that condo without a single thank you. So no, I wasn't sad to leave. I was done. I moved out on a Thursday morning, loaded my car with essentials and sent the rest with movers. No goodbyes, no last visits. I didn't share my new address with anyone. Not Mom, not Sarah, not even Sam. Only Lily knew. She helped me find the realtor. She earned it. The drive felt like breathing for the first time in years. No more unannounced visits. No more calls about needing a little help. No more watching my sister play the victim while draining everyone. But it didn't end with the move. 4 days after I settled in, I got a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It was Sarah. "Hope you're satisfied," she said. "You've torn this family apart. Mom says it's like you're gone. No one even says your name now." A pause, then she added, "Anyway, Tom's got a lead on some part-time work, and we're thinking about getting our own place again. Don't worry, we're not asking you for anything. We've learned our lesson." She hung up. I didn't call back. A week later, Lily texted, "Mom's drained. Sarah's still there. Tom's job didn't pan out. They're sleeping in the living room. Dad's drinking more. How long before they ask for cash?" I asked. "Sarah won't. Too proud. Mom might. Give it a month." 2 weeks later, a family group chat, silent for over a year, lit up with a photo of my nephew at a park. Sarah sent it. "Look who's thriving despite the chaos." Heart emoji. Sam sent a thumbs up. Lily stayed silent. Then Mom wrote, "It'd be nice if we could all move on." I knew what that meant. She wanted me to come back. Act like the last 6 months never happened. Like the brunch, the manipulation, the painted walls, the mold lie, all of it could be forgotten for. Family. I said nothing. 2 days later, Lily called. "You're not insane," she said. "They want you back in their circle. Without you, they're stuck with each other. And it's rough. I'm not going back. I know, just wanted to say you did the right thing." Now it's been a month. I walk to the park each morning, make coffee in peace. No knocks at my door. No late-night voicemails. But sometimes I check my phone, half expecting another guilt trip. They're probably still talking about me, still blaming, still waiting for me to return and fix it all. But I'm not going back. Not because I don't care, because I finally do. About myself. The update. It's been just over 3 months since I moved. Lily visited last weekend, first family member to see my new place. She brought a housewarming gift and said, "I still can't believe you pulled it off." We sat on the balcony and talked. She said Sarah and Tom are still at Mom's, still arguing. Tom's had 2 job interviews, no offers. Sarah's started selling handmade kids' clothes online. She's posting those cryptic quotes now, Lily said, laughing. "Like sometimes God removes people to save your peace." "I think I'm the people," I said. "Mom's health is slipping, mostly stress." Lily said she won't admit it, but she's overwhelmed. She's been calling Sam at night to vent. And still no one's apologized. Not a call, not a text, not a message saying maybe we were wrong too, just silence. And the occasional social media jab aimed at me. Meanwhile, I sleep better. My new neighbors are quiet. I joined a gym nearby. I'm looking at buying another property, one I'll rent to strangers this time. People who pay on time. And say thank you. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.